Sabalenka, who also defended her Miami Open title, overcome a surging Gauff after the 22-year-old forced a deciding set. Gauff was playing in the final of her home tournament in Florida for the first time and had the majority of the bumper crowd backing her, in what was likely to have been one of the loudest finals ever played on the WTA Tour. The Australian umpire, Tom Sweeney, had his work cut out to keep the crowd under control. One fan in particular drew an irate response from Sabalenka at a tense moment during the third set after yelling out on a ball that landed well inside the baseline. "We don't need you to make calls, we have computers to do that," umpire Sweeney quipped. Sabalenka also laughed off a warning from Sweeney for an audible obscenity, and the world number one apologized to the fan during the post-final trophy ceremony. "I don't know where you are, that lady that yelled, that hoped for the out. I shouldn't have been that rude," Sabalenka said. "But come on, you cannot do that. Let's agree that we both were wrong, so sorry." Sabalenka's victory underlined her status as the most dominant player in the world and continued her impressive response to losing the Australian Open final to Aryna Sabalenka in January. Having opted to miss the entire Middle East swing, Sabalenka arrived at Indian Wells having announced her engagement to Brazilian businessman Georgios Frangeli, and unveiling her new puppy, Ash, before saving match point to beat Rybakina in the final. Sabalenka did not drop a set in returning to the Miami Open final, beating Rybakina 6-4, 6-3 in the semis, and took down an opponent in Gauff who had caused her difficulties in the past, notably in last season's Roland Garros final. Completing the Sunshine Double further cements the four-time Grand Slam champion's position at the top of her sport, and she told Sky Sports, "I didn't have a moment to stop and really look back and realize what just happened in the last month. But oh my God, I'm so proud of the work that we've done." Although defeat in the final was tough for Gauff, the tournament was also a success for the American after she was forced to retire from Indian Wells earlier this month due to a left arm injury. Gauff's team had pleaded with her to withdraw from Miami before the start of the tournament, but Gauff, who will become the world number 3 ahead of Swiatek on Monday, instead found some form to take into the clay court season, as well as her French Open title defense. "With the conversations we were having earlier, this wasn't the result we were expecting," Gauff said. "I know it sucks to not take home the trophy, but I had a lot of joy this week and this is what I'm going to take from this the most." There was no lingering tension from last year's Roland Garros final, with Sabalenka starting her victory speech by saying, "Coco, you're so good at speeches and I don't know what else to say. You're a fighter and you also push me so hard to be a better player. You're incredible and I really like our rivalry. I'm happy to see you back in the finals. I really hope to play many more. Congrats to you and your team on an incredible job." Aryna Sabalenka edges tense battle with Coco Gauff to triumph in Miami Open final. Aryna Sabalenka had many reasons to believe that history could have been grimly repeating itself on Saturday afternoon. Despite starting her Miami Open final against Coco Gauff striking the ball with clear-minded aggression, the complexion of the match rapidly changed. Suddenly, having been pulled into a tense final set, she was struggling to hold on. Similar scenarios played out in her two most important matches against Gauff, and both times Sabalenka had pitifully crumbled under pressure in the final set. For all her imperfections, though, the Belarusian's career has been defined by her desperation to improve. Here, she maintained her composure, as she underlined her status as the best player in the world by edging out Gauff 6-2, 4-6, 6-3 in a quality battle to win the Miami Open for the second year in a row. Sabalenka has become only the fifth woman in history to win Indian Wells and Miami in the same year, the feat now known as the Sunshine Double. Across her 12 wins in 22 days, the 27-year-old has dropped just 2 sets, beating 3 opponents ranked inside the top 4. This is the 11th WTA 1000 title of Sabalenka's career as she continues to establish herself as one of the greatest players of her generation.